Welcome back to the Geekset podcast, the only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and this is One-on-One with Deuces, the place where I speak with creators, curators, and people that you should know. And right now, we're speaking with somebody who's on one of the hottest shows out right now, one of the top-rated shows, most viewed, most talked about on social media. We are speaking with Hannaha Hall, right?
Well, Hannah. Yeah, it's pronounced Hannah.
Okay, so why the extra A?
My mama. That's all I can say. I have no other explanation but that she wanted to put the extra A on there.
Okay. All right. And if you guys are watching this and you're not understanding who she is, this is Tiff from the Shy. But how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Saturday. I'm in Chicago. It's a little gloomy outside, but I'm good.
We're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so we got the same weather,
Congrats. Yeah. Congrats. I'm a little upset, but congrats.
Oh, because of
I wanted to see CP get a ring. I'm not gonna lie. I really did.
But how can you not hate Giannis? Giannis is...
I mean, I don't hate Giannis. I think he's phenomenal. I just, already with Wisconsin, we into it. That's, we just don't. Chicago and Wisconsin just don't.
Well, you know what? We do and we don't. Being from Milwaukee, my whole life growing up, I feel like because of what Chicago is, everybody, like that was a stamp of how to say that you were hard. Like people would be like, man, you know what I'm saying? I got family in Chicago. It's like, that was like the intimidating factor.
I heard that a lot, actually, from people from Milwaukee. They always say that.
Yeah, they used to use that all the time and everything. So on this platform, we do want to make sure that we give people their flowers. And one of the things that I do love about your journey and just seeing your growth as a character and just kind of introducing more into who you are. You're part of this show that is being talked amongst like The Wire and Snowfall and, Power within their first few seasons and everything. So like you have this show that is representing the shy and whole. And then it's just such great content, great storylines, so much stuff working into one. And your acting in the role of Tiff has been so much of like, as far as a conversation. I know that you're not heavily on social media, but every week, the conversation between what you and Emmett are going through and everything and your relationship has been the top topic trending on social media and everything. And I just want to say that is just a testament to what you and Jacob has been doing as acting. And I want to make sure that you know that like your character is loved, what you're doing is amazing, and people really, really rock with the work that you guys are putting out there.
Thank you. That's so kind to say. Seriously, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So because you're not heavily on social media, it was hard to find some information on you because I like to do my research. I like to not come into this blind and everything like that. So I do want to kind of get into what I always tell people people's origin stories. So from what I was able to gather, after you graduated, you decided that you wanted to go into acting. So you had hit one of your friends, was like, hey, you want to go out to Cali? And they was like, nah. But then you was like, we want to go out to New York? And she was like, yeah. And then so y'all kind of, but I wanted to kind of get into it, like, because I couldn't find what hit you. Like, what was the acting bug? What was the moment that hit you that got you to want to chase this dream?
So I always wanted to act since I was a child, but like I've told many other people, it takes so much sacrifice and support to really pursue it as a child. And, you don't really have that control when you're that young. It's really solely on your parents. And they didn't have the resources to make those sacrifices as well. So education was important to me. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna focus on this. I went to business school and, it was just in me the whole time. And, it takes a lot to say, I want to be an actor and actually pursue it. it was like a hidden dream in me, but I never really went after it. My mom did little stuff, but she really didn't take the right steps to really put me in that direction. So I went to school, and then I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. And it just kept bothering me and bothering me and bothering me. So then I was working at a bank, and I was in business school. And I called my friend, like you said, I said, do you want to move to California? She was like, no. I was like, I hung up the phone, called her back. I said, you want to move to New York? She was like, yeah. So I started looking for acting schools, and I submitted to an acting school, went through the process of that. And literally a month and a half later, I was in New York taking acting courses.
And that is, that is inspirational, because it's one of those things where it's like, you can get up and chase your dream. Obviously, like I said, you went through school, you were already, just, a little older, not saying that there was any age, but, everybody always puts an age on dream chasing. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to help dispel or change the narrative of. It's like, it's never too late to start chasing a, don't put that age on you. And even outside of just, like Hollywood dreams, people often do that for like schooling, or people often do that for like, I'm not successful if I don't have a house by this time, or I'm not successful if I'm not married by this time, or whatever age number that people put on. And I often tell people, like, you got to get that out your head, because you can be at any given age. And I use a lot of Hollywood actors and everything about their story to kind of just help show, because like, Morgan Freeman, or like even Steve Carell, Tabitha Brown, like they were a little bit older when they became famous, but you still love them as much. It's like, you can't put that age on there. So, you are proof that even after having, going through college, after having a career, going like, this route that, specifically going to be within the corporate world, that you can make that change and still be fulfilled and continue to go.
Absolutely. And I always encourage people, follow what's in here, because that passion is in your heart for a reason. And like I said, I wanted to be an actor since I was a little girl. And it took years to really open up and embrace that feeling, but I'm so happy that I did. I'm so happy that I did. And if something is nudging you and nagging you, follow that feeling. Follow that feeling. It's a reason. So it don't matter how old you are, follow that feeling.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then, I can tell that this was not just like a fly by night decision, because through that, through interviews and everything, the way that you were talking about your inspirations, being inspired by character actors, people like Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio and things like that, and actually taking method acting classes and being a fan of method acting, like it was like, oh, she's appreciative of the art. It's not just the, oh, I want to be famous, I want to be on TV.
Absolutely.
It's that appreciation of the art and everything. My thing is, when it came down to you going that method acting and learning that, and you saying that you want to be a character actor, you would like to do those. Is there any like specific type of character roles that you have in mind that you like, I would love to embark on?
Naturally, just as an actor, you want to kind of tap into everything. Versatility is so important to me, and that's why I admire people like Johnny Depp. I want to do a little bit of everything, because you want to understand. For me, like you said, I'm into the art of it, and just being able to step out of my shoes and have a perspective of someone else's, I enjoy that. I enjoy understanding, I enjoy developing and processing that. So if I can just tap into a little bit, I mean, of course you're going to have some roles that may be kind of close in character, but I do want to tap into a little bit of everything. As you stated, I am into character acting a lot. So stuff like period pieces, medieval type stuff, like films like Temptations, like all of that. I like all of that. Even, stuff like, I don't want to necessarily say Disney, but, like going back to Johnny Depp, all those like kind of really being able to manipulate your voice and your look. I'm into that type of stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Like, and, I think that is awesome when you watch an actor do that, when you can say, whoa, I didn't even know that they had that range. And I think for you, that is going to be something that's going to be like going to shock a lot of people, because, right now your biggest role is, Tiff in The Shy. So a lot of times when it's like the first role, and that's the role that makes somebody famous. They kind of get, that's what people expect in everything, right? So then you pop up into this Johnny Depp movie or style movie, and then you're out here being crazy, changing your voice and stuff like that. It's going to blow people's mind, you know. And I think that, you know, I can't wait to see you be able to fulfill that and everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's talk about The Chi. So I know The Chi, amazing show, amazing storyline that's going on currently right now. But I want to kind of get into the beginning. I know that you said you guys shot the pilot, it didn't get picked up, and then, you know, your I think you said your manager was reaching out to you. You kept on missing the call. But I wanted to say, kind of get into, in general, how did you even get involved with the pilot? How did that process happen?
Okay, so as you said, in 2015, we filmed the first pilot of The Chi. It didn't get picked up. It was a completely different cast. And then in 2017, I saw that it got picked up. And I saw that they were already recasting some of the characters from the initial pilot. So I reached out to my agent and I'm like, you know, what's the status? Are they going to rebook me? Do I got to re-audition? And, you know, it was very minimal information at the time, but they ended up calling me back in for Tiffany. And the audition process was much more easier this time around. I only auditioned one time for the second pilot. So that was nice. But yeah, I re-auditioned and they booked me for Tiffany. And then now we've been on this journey with going in, you know, the 4th season. So.
And with the evolution of your character, so again, let me kind of give you what's going on social media. Now, I'm gonna be your social media newscaster for right now. This storyline, I think it's the first time that I've seen where the guy was cheating and then the tables turn and now people are actually sympathetic for Emmett. Like you've seen it happen where the guy's cheating and then the woman, she's having her turn, and people are like more so rallying, you know, with the woman. But like I've been seeing a lot of even women just like, oh man, I feel sorry for Emmett. And I'm just like, this is crazy. I have never seen this on TV. Or this
you know, emotions are so unsettling and it's so temporary, because if you look at just the history of a lot of characters on different shows, and I'm just going to reference this character specifically, Ronnie. You know, everybody hated Ronnie when he killed Coogie, but then, you know, they were so sympathetic later down in the storyline when, you know, he helped Keisha, and then, you know, when he passed and stuff, everybody hated it. Kill him, we don't want him. He killed the child. But then when he got killed, it was like, wait a minute, we wasn't expecting that. So, you know, emotions are so temporary. And I don't think, you know, people, you got to look at his past too. He got a little resume. We can't just evade that.
What's also like the good conversation just about y'all relationship in general, like even with the concept of having an open marriage and, you know, and just having that, it sparks so many conversations of, you know, well, okay, like, you know, every guy, you know, at some point they're like, oh yeah, you know, I can have that open relationship. But then you see what Emmett's going through. He's like, yeah, that's probably what I would go through. I can't handle that like that. But then he's like, okay, but then, you know, at the beginning when you guys started setting the rules, like, okay, well, how do you set these rules? What is the rules? And I just remember watching it like, you know what? You think about open relationships from just what it is, but you don't think about the rules. So when he asked the question, I'm like, man, what is the rules? Like how do you determine those rules? And I thought that was really a really dope dynamic for that storyline, because it leaves lingering questions. It's like, okay, so if you were to go embark down this path, what rules would you set and everything like that? So
personally, I would not embark down that path. And that's me, you know, to each his own. I always tell people, do what works for you. If that's something that works for you, great. But if that is something that someone does, I do think that it needs to be structured. There needs to be no's and there needs to be yeses. And that really depends on the couple. Yeah. Like in this case, you know, they had the thing with bringing a woman to the house. First off, it was foolish of him to even bring a woman to the house. That should have been like a knowing. Don't bring nobody to your house where your family is. And that creates bigger issues with women down, you know, like that just, you don't bring that. That's a safety issue. That's too much. But I think it's important to, you know, maybe have limitations in the case, because you also want to think about the health of the couple. Like if you sleeping around like that, you jeopardizing yourself and to possibly catching something. I hate to be so open about that. But no, that is things that we need to consider when you are opening your relationship. Like I said, it's nothing that I could do, but if hypothetically speaking, I think there should be limitations and respect in the end, because you want respect. Respect is important in any relationship, whether platonic or romantic. So
the biggest conundrum that I was like, I would be stuck at, because I wouldn't, like, if I was to ever embark on that. Right now, like I said, in life, I don't believe that I would go down that route either. But that's, you start thinking about it, you're watching the show, and I was like, the biggest conundrum I would have would be the same as Emmett. It's like, fam, you are basically in another relationship. And then when she was like, but you don't want me sleeping around with a whole bunch of dudes, I'm like, damn, I don't want that either. So it's like, that is, you don't know what.
Yeah, and you know what? That was such an interesting thing that we touched on, because you don't want her sleeping around, but then it's like, you know how women are, we can't just be physically intimate with someone and then detach that feeling. It's so much deeper than just that one time thing. So the fact that she's consistently seeing someone, it kind of opposes the whole open relationship thing in a way, because like, that's the whole situation.
But you just don't know. That's what I'm saying. You just don't know. And then, like, that last episode, Emmett, he's like, all right, I'm gonna do the things that she loves. I'm gonna try to, win her back and everything. And so you're going through these motions, and you're like, okay, Emmett getting it right. And then it's just like, but then Tiff's not ready. And he was like, oh my God. So we're not gonna be able to do this? Like, what's it's just so many questions. It's so many just things that you don't know how to handle. You don't know what to do with that moment and everything. So it's just really great. And
that's what marriage is about, to be honest with you, as a whole, like generally speaking. I'm not married and I've never been married. So I don't want to speak on something that I haven't experienced, and especially my opinion probably won't be appreciated because I'm not married. But I do understand that marriage, everybody's marriage is different, and it's going to come with those challenges, and you just have to, see what works for you and your significant other and battle those challenges together. But these are the things, like, this is their situation specifically, and now they have to work through it and see what works.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you can't give out much, but I guess, what's coming up next? I guess is there anything that you can tell us about what's coming up within the season? And I'm not trying to put you in a bad situation.
No, I'm trying to, because I'm pretty good. I like people to have that shock factor. I don't like giving away anything. I'm one of them people. Don't tell me the movie. Don't tell me what's gonna happen. I want to watch it for myself. But I'm trying to figure out something to say, at least something. I will say it ends on the very. It ends with a few cliffhangers, but it also ends with just this coming together, this togetherness. So that's a little something to look forward to, and just to kind of give you a little bit of hope towards a togetherness.
I'll take that.
Did I forget the clacker out there? I'm just gonna clap.
You had brought it too.
I know, I'm just gonna clap.
I'm mad, because I was definitely expecting you to get it.
I mean, I could quickly go grab it.
Just clap. 1, 2, 3.
All right, man. Welcome back to the Geekset podcast, the only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces in the building. With me, I got my man Liv.
What up? It's Liberace. It's the Puerto Rican Santa. The spiccato playing, beat making, motherfucking legendary ass Puerto Rican. Sofrito Papi, and we back.
As always, I got my man Bacardi in the building.
Randolph today.
Konnichiwa, bitches. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. I hate all of this. I hate all of it.
What's good, everybody? How we doing today?
And we got Didge in the building.
What is happening, people? What's happening, people? What is happening, people? What is happening, people?
He's out the booth.
But it's like I said, we are expanding. We are doing more. So they say make sure you go to youtube.com/Geekset. Follow us on all social media at Geekset Podcast on every social media. And rating reviews in, man. We are rating reviewers on Facebook, rating reviewers on Apple iTunes, rating reviewers on Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever platform you're looking at. Give us some ratings, let us know. And then again, this is the only podcast that blend hip hop culture and geek culture together. We are out.
Peace.
So one of the things that I did find out that I was like, oh, I need to kind of talk to her about it. I mean, obviously we're the Geekset podcast. We talk about geek stuff, but to come to find out, like, you actually got some gaming to you. You know, you play a couple of games. You called out Halo. You said Halo was one of your favorite games.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite games.
So I guess let's talk about. This is one of the best questions that I always ask. What was the first game that you remember spending hours playing?
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy. So I feel I want to get into Final Fantasy. Unfortunately, I have not been, but it's not due to like I don't like the game. It's just but at the time where I wanted to get into, I'm like, I'm so far disconnected from what the storyline is. I feel like I'm going to be lost because I know Final Fantasy is such a huge game. So what got you into Final Fantasy?
I mean, I don't want to say anything specific because I was just a gamer. My brother played games. We had every game. We had the Atari, so we played like Pac-Man and stuff. Then we had the Mario. We had we did the Nintendo thing, Sonic, Mario, all that. But with PlayStation, it was like Final Fantasy, Musashi, like those story mode games. Of course, we did like the Street Fighters. I don't know. We just loved games. That was our thing. So I can't say nothing specific led me in that direction. We read comics, we watched like those cartoons, Power Rangers, Street, like all of that, and we played video games. That was just our thing.
So you brought up Street Fighter. Who's your go-to character?
Honestly, I can't even remember. I feel like I don't want to confuse these characters. I may be on the wrong game. Don't forgive me if I am. Remember Jack was...
Oh, the black dude with the, yeah.
Yeah, Jack. So I like Jack. And then it was one with like a little mohawk. He was super swole. I cannot remember these. Who? Who?
Zangief. He was swole, tattoos
with a mohawk. Okay, see, I would have never guessed that game. Like, it's been years since I played that, but Street Fighters was everything at one point, like everything. But I haven't played it in years.
But like the way we do our intro, so we started changing up. So last season of this interview series, the intro was like kind of looking like Street Fighter, like Street Fighter.
I saw that.
Now the intro got a Mortal Kombat style look to it. And
yeah.
That's what we're gonna.
Mortal Kombat was my game too.
Yeah, no, did you like the movie?
Oh, I did. I watched the last film. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm ready for the next one, to be honest with you. I'm curious to what they're gonna do. And I like the old Mortal Kombat too. Even though when you go back and look at the old Mortal Kombat, it's like, dang, we loved it. This looks so like it just, it's a 90s film. So
it's funny because like when you think about like some of the older properties that we have, the fandom was just so big. Because like I was recently watching the older X-Men, like when the X-Men that started, and watching that older X-Men, Wolverine's claws looked so horrible now compared to like what we see like Transformers and the new Marvel movies and how realistic they look. It was clearly CGI, and that was just probably like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. But it just looked so horrible. But it was like we loved that, like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. We loved it. We loved that, that X-Men at that moment. So it's the same thing with like that Mortal Kombat. Like even when you see Scorpion, his spirit come out, it looked so bad. But I remember at that time we were so geek.
We were so geek. Or remember the guy with the arms.
Agoro.
We loved him. It was like, oh yeah, here come that scene, when they fight. And oh my God, when you go back and look at it, you're like, dang, I love this. But you know what? The graphics for the updated one, it looked good. It looked really good.
I mean, I didn't really like the main character because I was like, we don't need new characters.
Everybody felt that way. And honestly, initially I felt that way, but I was like, I kind of saw how they was going to tie it in. I'm like, I think they're going to tie it in this way. And there's going to be some type of relation here. I want to say, yes, we do not want to see new characters, but you know, when it's a remake, they have to do a twist. And we may not appreciate it now, but we might appreciate it later.
I know. One of my other podcast hosts, he said that he liked it because he said that guy represented, like, you know, if you just told a regular person about Mortal Kombat in the real world, they don't know what the hell is going on. So they got to be like, so they was like, he was that person. He was the regular American person who got introduced to this long lasting war. And so that was literally like us.
I can appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, when he broke it down that way, I'm like, I can see, I get it. I just didn't want it at that time. I just wanted.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, I see it from both sides because you know I watched it with somebody, and then I spoke with my uncle about it, and I'm like, because we always talk about like shows like movies like that and stuff, and he said the same thing. He was like, you know, I don't really care for this new character, but you know, it's a little bit of a twist. Let's see where they're gonna go with it.
So another thing that you are really into and based off of, you know, the actors that you like, you said you love mob movies and mafia movies.
I do.
So what aspect of those, I mean, I think I already know, but you didn't get a chance to say, so I want to give you a chance to talk about it. What do you love about those mafia and mob movies?
You know, I always been into gangster type stuff, and it's a lot of things, even just the community portion of it and the love. Like, I mean, in the mob, you pretty much protected until you do something wild, you know. But I don't know. I've just always been into that type of stuff, and just I hate to seem like a bad person, but. Because it's like, dang, you support this, but I don't know. I've always been into like mob gangster, and it's a family. Like it's deeper than us just kind of, you know, doing what we want and you know whatever it is that they do it for money. Because you know it's all type of things that they do.
I think that's just Black people in general. I mean, you got to think so many rappers named after, you know, so many mobsters and gangsters. And then look at the movies, I mean, and the shows that we highlight. But I think we like it from a different aspect as well, too, is with the storyline, because that's why The Wire is such high in regards, because it's like, yes, it is pretty much a gangster show, but they show you so much with that writing and everything like that, you know. And same thing with like the mafia movies. It's like, we, from the most part, we like, oh, we love Scarface, we love Nucky Barnes, we love this person, whatever like that. But when you watch those shows and those movies and everything, you understand and get a little bit more into the family aspect.
The family aspect, because you know they connected, they connected and they're protected.
Yeah.
and I mean, like I said, it comes with its pros and cons, but you know, for the most part, you know, there's a family aspect of it as a, you know, in addition to the gangster side of it. And I don't know, I just love it. I love it. And then the fact that, you know, I love like Goodfellas and stuff is based on true stories. It make you feel it a little different. Or like City of God. Have you ever watched City of God?
I have not yet. I want to though.
Watch City of God. That's one of my top gangster movies. It's filmed in Brazil. It's in Portuguese though, so you got to read the whole film. But it's so good, huh?
I watch anime, so I don't have subtitles.
Yeah, you will love it. You'll love it. It's so good, and that's based on a true story as well. So it just hit different too.
Okay, so now I'm gonna put you on the spot. Let's get into top. What is your top 5 gangster movies?
Goodfellas, Casino, City of God, Godfather, and that's 4. Let me see. Goodfellas, Casino, Godfather, City of God. Who do I want to throw in there? What's another good gangster movie? I know my 5th one. I just can't even think of it right now.
Well, we can come back to it. Just keep on thinking about it.
Untouchables. Yeah, Untouchables.
Good one.
There's so many good gangster movies, like for real.
It is. And you know, I thought I was gonna put you on the spot, but you rattle those off quickly.
Oh yeah, I love them. That's one of my favorite genres.
No.
If you can't watch a gangster movie, move around.
Forget about it. Have you watched Boardwalk Empire? I thought that was such a really good.
You know what? I I was not on the Boardwalk Empire. Yeah, I wasn't. Like, I think that came out and I don't know what I was doing in my life, but I feel like I was just elsewhere. You know how some shows come out and you either was in high school and was like really, focused on school and sports and stuff. But I never got on the bandwagon for Boardwalk Empire, but I did. It's on my watch list.
Definitely should revisit it. Based off of what you just told me, you would love it a lot because it's about that prohibition time, and Steve Buscemi kills the role. Then there's the cast, and I think that oh man, why am I blanking? What's the big time Chicago gangster that the police and everybody went against? Why can't I'm blanking hard.
Me too. Now you got me blank. I can't even think of his name.
Ain't working, so I can't even look it up. But like the guy who plays that character, that was the best portrayal of him that I've ever seen in my life. Like it's gonna be hard to fill those shoes. And man, I'm so mad that I blanked on it.
You got me thinking right now. I can't even focus. Look, we're gonna 3 hours later. We're gonna be
right. But yeah, no, I think that you would love Boardwalk Empire. That'd be something that's really dope. And
noted. Thank you.
So you said that you did read comics as well, and you got that random clip on your YouTube of you just doing some martial arts. So are you martial arts trained?
I am. So I did the training very briefly. I actually started training martial arts just because I was like preparing for an audition.
Okay.
And I ended up really liking it. And my instructor, he wanted me to like start fighting for him.
Right.
So I kind of did it for a little bit, but I couldn't do it like I wanted to because I was older and I had my own things and I had other passions. And I told him like, look, this gonna come first.
Right.
And eventually it just kind of, it really conflicted with what I was doing. So I couldn't really do it for a long time, a long period of time. But yeah, I did train and I loved it. And I still do stuff at home. To kind of like just practice and keep myself on the edge, Okay.
Because with this big emphasis on superhero shows and movies and things like that, like when I saw that and I was like, okay, so she already got that training, you already got the acting chops. Like there's definitely so much Black heroes and just characters that you can portray, that you can potentially be a part of, where it's like, oh yeah, that's, you already fit for that role. And I would think with you being a method actor and wanting to play characters and knowing of, comic books and, at that time, I could definitely see that you being within one of those roles.
And hopefully, and it's more opportunity for, like you said, there's so much Black heroes that you see on TV now, so much more opportunity for us. So, I mean, whatever comes down the line, I would love, like, that would be amazing. Like, I'm very physically active, so I know I can handle that aspect of it. But yeah, like I would love that.
You know what you would be really dope to be in, because they're with them doing so much recasting and everything like that and just kind of redoing it. Remember, the Yellow Ranger at one point was Black. It was Aisha.
I remember that.
I can see you being the new Aisha.
Hey, I mean, that's so funny. Hey, that would be nice. And I loved Power Rangers. I used to want to be the Pink Ranger just because, like, it was the Pink Ranger. But the Yellow Ranger was Black, and then the Green Ranger was Black too.
No, Black Ranger. Green Ranger. Tommy was always white.
No. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe I'm confusing.
What are you talking about? I'm strictly talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So I know that they got so many iterations that there could have been a Black Green Ranger.
It was a Black Ranger. Who was the Green Ranger? No.
The Green Ranger was Tommy.
What am I thinking of then?
I mean, but like I said, I don't know. I don't know if in the future, because they changed.
I remember it being a Black Green Ranger. Now I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta look this up. I'm gonna look that up later too.
That was the one that was always dancing and fighting. He was the Black Ranger. He had the Mastodon.
And then I remember the Red Ranger. He was always white. Let me see. You had the White Ranger. I'm literally trying to have a visual. I'm trying to put a visual image in my head.
I hate that my mouse died because I can start research. I usually be able to research stuff, but my mouse literally died. So
It's okay. It's okay. But no, I was a Power Ranger fan. We used to do the whole little thing. Right. And me and my relatives, we did the whole thing. And what was it? Beetleborgs too. We was Beetleborgs fans too. We used to do the little, all that. It was corny, but whatever.
That's one of the things, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize. And that's why we started this platform. Black people, we are such a diverse group of people, but we dive into this geek fandom stuff. But they think that we're going to be like the Steve Urkels, like that's who's going to love it, not knowing that, like, no, people from the hood really love it. I often tell people, like, if you heard two Black people talk about Batman and Superman and who's better, it's going to sound like barbershop talk, like we debating Bron and Jordan, like, because we be so excited and we be so passionate. Like, it's all you'll hear it and it be like, no, nigga, I'm telling you, bro, Superman, that nigga ain't doing it.
Yeah, no, I know. Look, we had these debates at Family Gap to this day, and we all grown in our 30s and we still talk about who will win. And yeah,
I love the fact that you chose Batman over Tony Stark because
I've always been a Batman fan though.
So on my podcast, I'm the only Batman fan, and I got 3 people always coming at me because they keep on saying they keep on talking ill about Batman. And I'm like, yo, y'all gonna have to chill out because Batman is that dude.
Yes. Now I understand why some people don't like Batman because he don't really have powers. But I don't know. I've always been I was always a Spider-Man fan, Batman. I'm gonna be real with you. I was never a Superman fan.
Me either.
Now, I will say, in Superman versus Batman, Superman can clearly demolish Batman, but I don't know. I just still don't care for him as much. Batman is different for me.
Well, that makes him even more dope. He's amongst all these superhero beings, but they rely on Batman so much because he's a strategist. He's the world's greatest detective, and he knows how to take everybody down. He has plan to beat everybody, and that makes Batman so dope. And
and he's on this platform with people that got powers, but I'm just a regular person that just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then like I tell people all the time, I'm like, yeah, okay, is he kind of crazy? Is he a psycho? Of course, but he's still dope. Like, he is still dope.
Most brilliant people are a little, and that's a true statement. Most brilliant people are not. Yeah.
So, and then you also like Spider-Man. Now, is it the original Spider-Man or is the Miles Morales Spider-Man that you like?
Well, I actually liked Miles Morales. I really enjoyed that film, to be honest with you. But I'm a Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
I appreciate the Tobey Maguire. Now, I do think that what's the new kid, Tommy? But what's the new Spider-Man name?
We are horrible.
I'm sorry. The new Spider-Man, he's so charismatic, and I think he's wonderful on screen. Andrew Gardner was really good too, but I love the Tobey Maguire sequel.
Yeah. I think because at that time that was one of the first times that we got like a comic book movie that was taken seriously. Like, you go back and watch the old school Batmans. You like the Batmans, but it was kind of campy. There was like, you watch Superman. Superman was kind of campy as well.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, that first one when we get with Tobey Maguire, it was taken seriously, and you was like, whoa, like this was like you really seeing your comic book character come to life on screen. And I thought
he had a lot of charm, and I don't know, it just fit to me. It really fit, and I thought he was phenomenal. I know the third one was highly critiqued in a lot of negative ways, but I mean, I loved I'm sorry?
Tom Holland.
Okay, I said Tom Hiddleston. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tom Holland.
Because there is a Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston, that is Loki.
That's Loki. Yeah. Okay. Look, we just a little everywhere. And speaking of Loki, my uncle, but every day he asks me, "Have you watched Loki? Have you watched Loki?" I have not watched Loki yet because you know what? I'm not in a show phase right now. I've been on a film phase. Okay. So I've just been watching films. The only show I've watched in the last 6 months is what is it? What's the other Disney Plus show? WandaVision. And WandaVision is good. I haven't finished it. But WandaVision is really good, but I am going to get to Loki.
Yeah, but you have to. So if you're a fan of the Marvel movies, definitely watch watch, finish WandaVision, watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then watch Loki, because it sets up everything that we're going to get for the next few phases. So, I assume that you're all caught up on all the Marvel movies, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty much caught up on the Marvel movies.
Yeah. So it's like, what's next to come? Who's the next big bad and everything? You learn that all within these shows, and then it sets up the movies that are about to happen. So
that's what my uncle just told me. He was like, you got to watch it, and it's going to set up, it's going to show you. But he said, finish WandaVision first, because WandaVision is going to give you're going to understand some things. It just kind of connects with Loki.
Yeah. I like WandaVision on just the risk that they took with, taking it back in time, and then like the show's Easter eggs and everything.
I love the way they filmed it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love the way they filmed that.
Yep. And then, like I said, so not knowing much about Monica Rambeau, but knowing that she was, within the comics and being now and seeing that representation. And it's funny because the actress, I'm blanking on her name, but I remember her from Survivor's Remorse.
Okay, I didn't see her on Survivor's Remorse. I don't know her name. I'm not even gonna act like I do. And her face is familiar, but I can't think of the name.
If you remember Survivor's Remorse, it was kind of like Ballers, but for basketball, but with a little bit more comedic aspect to it. And she played a character in there, but it was just a regular character. She was, but it was just a different role. So to see her in this role and just kind of embrace it and just knowing what to come, and it sets up so much with these shows, and that's what I love about Marvel. And I think that's why I'm like, again, DC. I'm a DC fanboy. DC animation, I love them.
DC animation, Marvel live action. I always say that DC animation is phenomenal, but Marvel live action. No, Marvel live action is phenomenal. Yeah.
And I wish that how I was talking recently to this comedian by the name of CT, and we were talking about one of the reasons why we love Marvel is that Kevin Feige took it, and it's just like, no matter what, they have so many people involved, but it's Kevin Feige's overall vision storyline. It's like, this is the tree. I'm bringing you guys on, but this is the right. Yeah. We don't have that in DC. When we're doing the DC films, there's not one person saying, this is the universe I'm creating. How do we make this all
right? How do we make, you know what, that is like that gap within DC, live actions. But it's so funny because their animation, they get it. The animation is perfect. I think I was just watching, I think this is a DC animation, Harley Quinn. I watched like an episode of Harley Quinn the other day, and I thought it was good. I was like, see, yeah, just a perfect example. This is good, but the lives, it just miss a little bit, just a little bit.
Or the Harley,
still watch it though.
Right, me too. I'm gonna still watch it, but it's just like, But the Harley Quinn show, the way somebody sold it on to me, they was like, it's like Rick and Morty with your DC characters, and I said, I'm on board because I love Rick and Morty.
And that's so funny because I first watched a few episodes of Rick and Morty, and then I ended up watching one episode of Harley Quinn. So I see the correlation.
So one of the things that I often always do also with this is that I try to kind of get like, you're embarking on your acting journey, you're getting more in depth into it and everything. And because you're a fan of like period pieces and stuff like that, do you have like a Moby Dick, a white whale type of role that you was like, you know what? I would love to get this role to portray this person or this or anything like that.
You know what? I can't speak specifically towards something. Like I said, I want to do a little bit of everything, but I'll say this. So one of my favorite films is The Fifth Element.
Okay.
And Luc Besson is the director and the writer of that. And he typically writes, he does films with these women protagonists. And I would love that would be like phenomenal to work with him and just take on the role as this woman protagonist. Like, he did it in Leon the Professional, even though, you had Leon in there, but you had Natalie Portman's role, which was just so significant to the storyline. And then Lucy and a few, stuff like that, where the woman is like the one that, she's the one that's going to make everything come together. I would love to do something like that, like a Fifth Element type thing, real sci-fi-ish fantasy. Yeah.
Are you heavy into sci-fi?
I am. I love sci-fi and fantasy.
Okay, that's dope. So that probably makes more sense with like why you like Halo and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
has that fantasy aspect and everything, and I can see, like, because one of the things that I'm very, very interested in that I start liking is like how they do motion capture for like video games or like digital movies, like how they did the Avatar movie. Like that was like James Cameron, when everything he did with that was amazing, because it was like you can see the actor within it, but he still takes you out of it because of how visually appeasing it is.
Yeah, that's the technology for you. And it is interesting how they're filming like the video games. Like these are actual actors in here, but they do it and you see the character, but then it is the act. It's weird, but technology.
Would you want to be in a video game?
I'm gonna say yes and no. I mean, like if the opportunity presents itself, I would probably take it, but I would prefer like stuff like Mortal Kombat, or like when I was a little girl, I used to say like, if they ever made this a film, I would look like, if they redid this film, I would love to play in the film of a video game, like a Halo or like a Metroid Prime or Zelda. I mean, Zelda, I probably wouldn't fit in too much, but like, just being able to take the game and make it a film, that I would appreciate more than actually just playing a role on a game.
Do you have like a favorite fantasy sci-fi movie?
I mean, like I said, I love The Fifth Element. Have you ever seen The Fifth Element?
Of course.
Oh, okay. I'm just, because, a lot of people, they're like, The Fifth Element, I never heard of it. And I'm like, it's from the 90s, Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich. Like, I'm like running it down.
One of those cultural things. That's like saying you haven't seen Friday. Like that's.
Yeah. That's like literally I can watch that film any day and all day. That's my favorite for sure. Like for sure.
So what were you gonna say?
No, but I was gonna say I love mostly all the sci-fi fantasies.
Well, so speaking in that sci-fi fantasy realm, in Chicago, you guys have one of the biggest like comic book conventions in C2E2. Have you ever went?
I did.
How was that experience?
I loved it. It's so funny. Have you ever heard of Stranger Comics?
Yeah.
So Stranger Comics, I'm a big fan of Niobe, the Niobe issues. And I went there, I was waiting. Literally, I was hounding them down. And it's so funny. I forgot that the C2E2 was going on. And then I looked, I was like, oh shoot, it's going on. This was right before the pandemic. Right. Last year. And I literally went up there.
Probably cross paths because we covered it. We cover a lot of conventions as there. So
my God. Yeah, we probably did. But yeah, I went in there and I actually snuck in. And because it was just so like, I was like, I'm going up here and I'm buying out. And I bought all of it. Literally, I bought Dusu, Niobe, Morkamoa. I bought all of the comics. And I'm such a huge fan. But yeah, the C2E2 is bomb. I want to do the cosplay thing, but
have you thought about any cosplay?
I have not done it yet. But if I do, I always say I'm doing Fifth Element.
Okay.
If I dress up for Halloween, I've never dressed up for Halloween. If I do it, I'm doing Fifth Element because that's just my favorite film. Huh?
So right now, I'm just saying it. We're friends now. We're starting a process. We're gonna start a show on our channel, talking to people who cosplay and kind of talking about their process on just creating, putting it together, and then revealing it, at the, whatever convention they go to. If you do it, you have to come back and talk to us about it.
Absolutely.
Like, that'd be amazing to see. But here's where I'm like, again, with you not having much on the internet for people to find out about you, what I just found out, and this is where I'm like, oh man, I'm excited for people to find out. The comic that you just named, it's not the biggest comic, right? It's in that indie comic realm.
Yeah, it is.
That's proof of somebody who's truly like a lover of comics. Like, what I'm saying? That's that grassroots. I don't know if you ever heard of this lady. Her name is the Blurred Girl. She kind of represents the Black nerd.
Blurred Girl sounds so familiar. I feel like I listened to a podcast or something with her on it.
She's on a lot of podcasts, but she represents the Black nerd. She covers a lot of major things, but her start is she wanted to highlight indie comics and give them a little bit more press and coverage, so that way people can, learn who these things are. Because you got to think, even with film, those small films that you see at Sundance
never get attention. Yep.
But they be the most amazing stories. Those are that like blow your mind.
Yeah.
I was like, that is really dope. That that is one of your favorite comics, because it's like you can go with the big two. You can say, oh yeah, I like a DC or a Marvel, but highlighting that one, that is extremely dope.
Yes. And then the creator he's a Black guy, and he kind of stands for the same thing you're on. We are geeks too. Yeah. And it isn't that Steve Urkel geek. We look like this, but we love stuff. We love this type of content.
Yeah, and I think that's really huge. So who got you into comic books? I guess how did that?
I think it was just my family, my uncle, my brother. We watched Star Wars. Like we read comics. We played video games. It was just my surroundings growing up.
Oh, and that's kind of usually where a lot of it comes from. It is usually your surrounding, or sometimes it's an escape. People escape into those pages or escape into those. Wanted to ask you, because now, like, we talked about a lot of fandoms and everything, but one thing that I often try to introduce people into, are you into anime at all?
You know what? I watched anime much more when I was younger. Now I don't watch too much anime. I keep bringing up my uncle. He always sends me something anime related. He's like, you need to watch this anime. You need to watch this show. You need to watch that. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, it really just depends on where I'm at. Like I told you earlier, right now I'm in a film vibe. I'm watching tons of film and I'm not watching shows. So, when the time comes and I'm in that mode to watch anime, I'll watch it.
It's because the one thing I often tell people about anime is that they have really great storylines.
The storyline, a lot of the films here in America, the storylines are adopted from anime.
Yeah.
Like people don't know that a lot, not even just America, just in general. A lot of films, the storylines are adopted from anime. Like we know that because we watch it, but a lot of people don't know that. And it's so good. It's so much depth to the storyline. The writing is phenomenal. Now you're gonna have to read a lot, you know that, but the writing is phenomenal.
One parallel that a lot of people didn't catch at first, and I saw a lot of more people talking about it. Black Panther, such an amazing movie, but the parallels between Black Panther and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z is like
Dragon Ball Z was my show. I wanted to be Goku, so I wanted to be a girl Goku so bad. My favorite thing, I always tell people, my favorite thing about Dragon Ball Z. Remember that world you could go in? It was like 1 minute in our world, but it was like 1,000 days or something. And there, I can't remember.
That's what it's called, the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, that. I'm like, do you know what I could do in this? Like, I could train, I could be Like, I wanted to be a female Goku so bad.
Oh, that's why you got to start watching it, because they introduce female Saiyans and everything like that, and there is kind of like a female Goku within it. Like
where?
Dragon Ball Super is what they call it. That's the next part of Dragon Ball Z, called Dragon Ball Super.
Okay, I did not hear anything about that. I'm shocked.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is, so because we got this platform called, we blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together, our fan base is full of like, like thugs and then real group anime geeks, and we bring them together, right? And so we'll often do like live podcasts. And I tell this story all the time because it's funny. It's like when we was doing it, we had like this one dude, he was like the most thuggish dude that you can think of, and we always have an open mic for people to talk to us, because we want it to be an event, not just a panel. We want like the interaction with the crowd. So he come up and everything, he's like, hey yo, so you know what I'm saying, like Goku, that's my nigga, you know what I'm saying, because he like that. So like, what other podcast, what other animation, what I'm saying, should I check out? Because what I'm saying, I want to see stuff like that. So I started creating lists. And I started simplifying the list. So like anytime somebody who's not into anime, but they kind of into it, like I'll make these lists and they'll be like, all right, so if you want to watch an anime with people catching these hands, watch this anime. If you want to watch an anime where, people are, rocking with machines, like it's like I'm breaking it down like that. You want to catch that?
That's good. We need that.
Yeah. And then I'll give it to people who, interested. So then they're like, oh man, so now they're watching all these other animes, but because I broke it down like that, because it's like, yeah, you got to break it down in the simplest form, but then people get so much more out of it.
Yeah, they do. And then it can just stem what they want. Like you said, if they want something that's predominantly, fighting or whatever, go watch these shows.
Yeah.
So I get that. I appreciate that. That's dope.
Yeah, no, I feel like, you know, it's because you bring it together. And then I tell people all the time, it's like, it's funny because then when it's the people who are not sure that they want to really talk about it out loud yet, they treat it like a drug deal. Like they're like, hey, hey, what anime should I catch? Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like they keep it low, but it's like, no, let me embrace it, man. You know, embrace that geek side of it, because we got to show, you know, that we are that diverse. We can jump into any fandom.
Anything, yes.
That's the dopeness about being Black. You know, it's one of those things.
Yes, we yes.
So what's next for you? What's next for Hannah?
You know, I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of rocking it out right now for the summer. I got this little journey I'm on for myself for the summer. I'm working on a few things within me and just kind of honing my craft in different areas that I feel like I need work on. It's a lot going on in Chicago. It's a lot of films, a lot of shows being filmed right now. So of course the auditions are coming in, and whatever happens with that, you know, I'll rock it out when it happens. But for me, I'm enjoying the little bit of time. We wrapped up filming in like mid-June. And we were filming from January to June. So it was really overwhelming just coming from the winter. We had a really tough winter and then going into the summer. So for me, I'm trying to enjoy as much as this solitude that I can. And, you know, we'll see what happens.
I mean, you know, hopefully we cross paths, because, you know, me personally, I started my acting journey in regards to just over the past 2 years. You know, had a chance to be a background on, you know, Chicago PD. I don't know, Chicago Fire. Sorry about that, Chicago Fire.
Nice.
And that show, The Big Leap, that was shot out there. I was a background.
Big Leap, yeah.
I'm just constantly trying to get more, you know, work out there and everything like that. But it was funny because, like, when I went down to CineSpace and I'm walking through it and I'm seeing y'all posters, and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. Because I'm a big fan of history that's happening in places. Like, you know, I'm a person that if I travel somewhere, take me to a place that history has happened. I like to be there, right? So when I was in CineSpace and it's just being, I'm like, whoa, like this is where the Shy is shot. Like, this is crazy, because I watch this show all the time, and I'm you know, I love the actors and everything like that. And so it's like, just being there, I was just like, you just felt that. And, you know, even after just, you know, I went there to do my COVID testing. And then I'm like, well, let me just walk around real quick. Just kind of, you know, so I'm walking around looking at
get familiar with,
like, it was just so dope just to be there. Like, I just love being where history has happened. And that's the thing, what you guys are doing with the Shy, like, that's going to be a part of history in general. It's catapulted within our top 5 shows. And now we're like, you know, you hear people talking about it. You hear people comparing and contrasting, like, oh, you got the Shy and Snowfall. Well, you know what I'm saying? And then it's both, you know, or like, oh man, with the Wire and the Shy, like, it's so dope what you guys are doing. And again, I'm not being from Chicago, you can tell me, I get a sense that people from Chicago, they believe that you guys are represented in the right way, correct?
They do. You know, I get mixed reviews and feedback, but for the most part, people are appreciating it. And I can say, walking into season 4, it has become like Chicago's baby. Like, this is our show. It's the closely relative that we've gotten. So I think they're appreciating it more and more. Honestly, I cannot even believe we're in season 4. Like, it's been 5 years since this, you know, I'm skipping 2020, right. But you know, it's been 5 years that we've been on this show, and it's crazy to think about how it's grown. And like, just hearing your perspective and what you see the Shy as, I appreciate that so much. Like, all of us, I speak on behalf of all of us. I think we all appreciate that compliment so much. But yeah, they do love it. They do.
That's good. And, you know, I think David Simon, so kind of going back to The Wire real quick and then making it the parallels to this, one of the reasons why people love The Wire and why it was so authentic was what David Simon did was he also employed people within Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
So you got, like, you know, say, even if you had actors from New Zealand or whatever the case may be, the environment was the people, and the people made that Baltimore feel. And I think we get that from the Shy. Like, even though the actors are from all over, the environment, the people, just the things that are going on, you get Chicago. And I think that's what makes a good show, is where when you're watching it, you're everything that you are going on in your life, you're escaping from it. You're watching the show and you're so into it. It's like, man, I feel like I'm within Chicago. I'm seeing that lens within Chicago. And I think that that's why people gravitate towards the show, because, you know, outside of music and what you hear the music and news is like, oh, Chirac, this going on, this, that. You forget that there's people in these storylines that's going on. So when you get a show like The Chi, you get to see that it's not just always crazy Chirac. It's not what the rappers rap about all the time. There's also storylines of this business trying to start, or, you know, storyline of, you know, this family dealing with what.
Right. We dig into the backstories of what's going on, because so often you hear about, I'll just use this as a reference, you know, even with Ronnie. The first thing we see is him kill a child. And that's what you hear on the news. Like, this man has just murdered this child. But we dig a little deeper. Why? You know, you look at the story, he really did it trying to win back somebody else, you know, and it just shows you how some things are not intentional. Some things, a gun can end up in anybody's hand, even a 50-year-old veteran that's just trying to rekindle his love with a young woman. Like, that is how quick things happen here. And we want to give you that perspective. We don't want to just show you what the news show you about a Black person killing or being dead. Right. We want to show you why and what's going on around them, and that there is positivity to these people.
Yeah. And I think that that's really dope. And then just even with the, you know, during last year, the focus was on like defunding the police and everything like that. But then this show actually does it and kind of gives you a perspective on what it would look like. What I like about it is that the show could have easily did it and then glorified it and like made it seem like everything worked easy peasy. See, this is what it was. But you're seeing the woes, you're seeing the highs on how it impacts the community, but you're also seeing how hard it's going to be to do it. So it puts a level of realism, like, okay, it's not just we defund the police and then everything's sweet. Like, no, it's going to be a journey. There's going to be some pitfalls. And this show is addressing not only that, it's addressing like, okay, so how do we deal with that? Like, yes, we're going to defund the police. We're going to make our own police force. But when somebody gets killed on your watch, how do you handle that? You know, like we were seeing that. And I think it makes that so much more powerful because impactful, because it's like, man, yeah, I'm seeing this, and we chanted defund the police, but what does that really mean?
What does it look like, and how does it affect us as a whole? And you know, they kind of touch on different things on how it affects that type of family and this type of family. So I think, the perspectives and the stories that are being told, they're impactful, like you said.
All right, so 2 more segments and then we can get you out of here. So we already did one top 5. We did the top 5 mob movies for you and everything like that. I also want to get, in general, top 5 inspirations. It doesn't have to be only actors or anything, but just inspirational people and just in general that inspired you to kind of how you move and everything that you're doing.
This is a good one. I'll name. God, let me see. You know, I'm so strange. Inspirations. I mean, do you want me to just in general or like specifically when it comes to my career?
Let's go career. Top 5.
Okay. So of course we're gonna go back to Johnny Depp. I love Johnny Depp. Natalie Portman. I think, you know, she has her roles very versatile. And she's kind of dabbled in a lot of different genres in her career, and I really admire that about her. One person I really admire, Samuel Jackson. I like to look at people's backstories and their upbringing and their, you know, how they came about, and I'm very intrigued by his upbringing and his backstory. That's 3. Let's see who else that really, you know, I'll say this person. When I was in acting school, this person was highly talked about. And I remember my instructor, they actually worked with her, Meryl Streep. And, you know, everybody, I hate to rave about somebody that everyone raves about, but it was something that stood out the most, and it's such a mediocre statement, but to me it stood out. They said that directors would always just talk about how Meryl Streep just got it. She understood it. And as an actor, you want to get a script and you want the actor to just get it. You want them to understand it. You want them to understand the lingo and the tone of where what the story is trying to tell. So for me, you know, that's one of my objectives when I'm getting a script. I want to get it. I want to understand it. And if it's something I don't understand, let me try to ask the questions to understand it. Let me do the research and let me you know, connect with the director or the writer to try to understand. So that was something that really stood out to me. And I mean, of course, she's phenomenal in every single thing that she's in, but to just get it and understand it, like that is it's so important to storytelling. And then let me think of somebody else. I mean, it's so many people, but let me see. I love a person that inspired me. Sorry, I'm like trying to think of you know, because you get the typical people, but sometimes it's like those certain people that just kind of, or something about them that they said or did. You know, a person that really I'm very intrigued by, and I've discussed him before, Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
just to see how he, you know, child stars, they have a different type of pressure.
They do.
And, you know, to overcome what he's overcome, granted, you know, there's still a lot of things in the media, but he's such a phenomenal talent, and to have endured everything that he's been through. Have you ever seen his film, Honey Boy? Phenomenal film. And it just kind of gives you a little insight of what he had to deal with as a child, and to be able to still have a career after all of that. And then, you know, the whole Disney thing, like, you know, working for Disney and then coming out and having such a big franchise as Transformers, like it's very inspiring. And, you know, it's just insightful. It's insightful. I look at people when I'm looking at people, I like to understand what's going on the other side of things in their personal life. And that's what inspires me more than anything.
That's one of the reasons why I started doing these interviews and stuff like that, because like one of my first interviews I did was with Van Lathan. And at the time when I interviewed him, that was right when he checked Kanye, right? So everybody wanted to ask him about the Kanye West thing and everything. So what I realized, again, I be paying attention on Twitter, I used to see him talk a lot about comic books. And I'm like, I bet you Van is really, really comic book knowledge heavy. So we had our interview and we talked just about the whole hour and some change, mostly about comic books and about The Wire. And it was one of those things where people was like, I didn't even know he had that aspect on him, right? And I like giving that to people because, like, yes, at that moment, everybody that interviewed was talking about the same thing. So no matter what interview you went to, you're gonna hear the same type of stories and everything. I wanted to give people that platform about that. So, like, again, even with this interview with me and you've talked about every interview you most likely going to get, they're going to talk about the Shy, they're going to talk about Emmett and you and Tiff. And I was like, yeah, we'll still talk about that. But what they're not going to get is what we just talked about. They're not going to was heavy in Power Rangers and that you love indie comics and like all that those stories. And I like giving those moments because, again, it gives people that deeper insight. So now people, you know, who are interested in you and they're like just consuming everything, you know, that you're in, they find this interview, they're like, whoa, I didn't even know that. Oh, wait, she be gaming, you know?
Yeah, people literally, they're so shocked when I tell them I play video games. And I mean, to this day, I told myself a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I'm gonna buy a video game for this winter and I'm gonna play some video games. I don't play as often as I did when I was a child, but people are shocked when they hear that I play video games or that I watch like certain type of films and that I'm into certain type of films.
In this new world of just people who are just like people in general, I think that's one of the reasons why Twitch became such a big thing. Like, you know, you like said, your brother and your family, as kids, we used to watch our cousins, brothers, family play video games. Like that was a thing. We would sit there and watch. So when Twitch came, that's essentially what it is. It's like people who love you, if you're just playing Call of Duty, they'll just tune in just to watch you play.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I am guilty of that. I've watched people play Call of Duty.
So, you know, it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, if you do get a game system, again, we're friends. Let me know, because then we get on Twitch, we'll just have a moment of just us rocking out playing video games, because I think that is so dope, because then you get video games is kind of like playing sports. You get to see people go crazy, because people, especially in like games like Call of Duty, you talking crap. You like, oh yeah, hell yeah.
Let me tell you, I went to this gaming convention. It was here in Chicago. It's a huge, like, it was so huge. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was like a championship convention. They had people from all around the world. America ended up winning. But it was like, it was for the game. I know you know this game. It's a computer game, but it's kind of like Call of Duty, but they play it on the computer.
There's a whole bunch of them. Let's see.
It's just like Call of Duty. What's the name of this game? And it's this huge convention they had in Chicago. Let me tell you, I've never been to anything like this. We watch these people fight, and it's like a Germany against America, and then they go to the finals, and it was crazy. The energy, everything. This was the dopest convention I've ever been to be honest with you. Everybody's like buying little stuff at the vendors, like video gaming stuff and stuff like that. But it was the dopest adventure, just to watch it and be there to witness like this happened and this happened. And then, I mean, like, I'm just saying, you know, America won, you know, so it was so beautiful. Like, we was in there chanting, screaming, dope. But I can't remember this game. It's a well-known game. It's a computer game. It's just like Call of Duty. It's a shoot.
Warcraft, is it?
Huh?
Not World of Warcraft, is it?
No, it's not that. I'm so mad that I cannot think of this game. I feel like I've been having a lot of blank moments here doing this.
But hey, you know, that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, it happens.
So the last segment that we often recommendation. It could be either something that you're watching, you're reading, you're listening to, but something that you think that our viewers and our listeners should check out.
Let me see. I'm usually really good with recommendations, but you know, when people put you on the spot, you just gotta go blank. Let me think. What have I watched recently? Man, now I feel bad because I feel like I'm gonna give a recommendation and it's not gonna be the best recommendation. Then hours later, I'm gonna be like, oh, this is a better option. Give me a second. I feel like I just watched something that had some really good writing in it. I'm sorry.
You're so apologetic. You don't have to be.
You know what? I am. Everyone says that. They're like, Hannah, would you stop saying sorry? But I'm very apologetic. Cause I know I could have came up with something quicker, but like I am reading a couple of books and watching stuff, but I don't want to recommend the things I'm reading and watching right now. Let me see. Well,
also, it doesn't have to be currently. It could be something that you've been consumed.
Right. I see a good recommendation. My mind is really going blank right now. Like I'm like, so I'm embarrassed. And I was just giving somebody a recommendation the other day. You know what? I'll just say this. I am reading this book. It's been taking me a long time to read this book. It's called Devil in the White City. I've been reading this book for months, but only because like I started reading it during work and it was just difficult to just really focus on that and work and other stuff. But I am reading this book called Devil in the White City. It's kind of historic. You're going to do a lot of Googling in the book. But it's basically about the late 1800s when they did the World Fair here in Chicago.
Okay.
So get this, they're doing this World Fair here in Chicago. This architect is trying to, you know, get a group of architects together to bring this and make this the biggest thing in the world. And eventually it does become like this big thing. But simultaneously, it's this guy, like literally he finessing everybody. Honestly, he the most intriguing character. He literally got people working for him and then he's not paying them. And then, you know, like they just taking that L. And right. He finessing all these people out of money. He getting people to pay for stuff that he promising them funds for that he's not. But then get this, he's also a serial killer. This is true facts. crazy. Like the book is so good, but like I said, you're going to do a lot of Googling. It uses a lot of big words and just different words, which is good and bad. For me, like I want to understand, you can use context clues to kind of, stem what something is saying, but also like I like to just research what I'm reading to understand a little bit more. And then always, kind of get better with your vocabulary. But it's a good book. I'm reading it. I hate to give this recommendation, but I'm literally going because I feel like I literally have great recommendations all the time. Like people call me and they like, Hannah, what do you recommend for this? So what should I watch for this? And I'm always like, boom, boom, boom. But right now I'm just like getting a blank. But that book is really good. I'm almost finished with it. But this man, like he finessing everybody and then he killing them too. And it's just like, what?
See, that it sounds great. It kind of got like a Dexter type feel, like,
Yeah, like I'm waiting for them to make this like a movie or a show or something. They have to, like, it's just so good. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
I like it. All right, so where can my people find you?
So find me in Chicago on Instagram, Hannaha Hall. I mean, like you said, I'm not really that active on social media. You'll see me post every now and then. Majority when we're filming, like when we're promoting the show, that's when I'm doing most of my posting. But yeah, Chicago, at Hannaha Hall on Instagram. That's about it. I don't have a Twitter or anything else.
All right, well, I think you only got like 11 posts on your Instagram right now. So, but hey, you know what? It adds to the mystique of you as well. Like, I think that's dope. Sometimes, we live in a world where we get so much of people, and it's good to get so much of people sometimes, but it's also really dope to have that mystique about you, because then you have more opportunities to just be you and shock some people with your talent and with your work. And based off of this conversation and everything, like, I'm excited for what to come from you, because like I said, to see that range, that is going to be really dope. And for the world to finally be able to see that, I think that is going to be amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And when it comes to social media, I'm just a person that like to stay grounded in reality. And I don't know, like social media is cool. It has its pros and cons. It's hilarious. Like if you want something funny, you can go find something on there. But for me, yeah, I'm bad.
Well, this has been One-on-One with Deuces. I've been your boy Deuces. This has been amazing, amazing Hannaha Hall, and we are out.
Flawless victory.